welcome back. It is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. Our thanks, by the way, again to John Brookhagen from the Math Institute. He really does a fantastic job, not just at his school, but his knowledge of what's going on within the Clark County School District is very vast, JD. I would say that is a very fair statement to make. So we appreciate John coming in, and we will certainly have him back in studio very, very soon monitoring this.
And it's very cool that he's offering a legitimate alternative to what's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's more focused on the kids and not the administration and the teachers and the principals.
No question about that. So we appreciate John coming in. A quick reminder, by the way, you might have seen this guy in the news the last 48 hours. His name is Joe Walsh, and he's a libertarian that is going to be running against Donald Trump. And he said some very controversial things in the past. And a lot of people are talking about it. Well, guess what? We have Joe Walsh, who is going to be coming on our show tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. You are not going to want to miss that. Also, as I alluded to before, he is the world's fastest magician. That's right. Well, we're going to make him prove that because, as I said, we're going to see how fast he can make JD disappear. We'll see if he can do that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally necessary. That's great.
Hans Kloke will be joining us in studio tomorrow. He does a great show on the Strip.
Is he bringing any type of tricks?
Well, I don't know. It's going to be a surprise.
You need to find that out.
It's going to be.
I want to know.
I would imagine it's going to be a surprise. Doing magic on the radio is very, very difficult. I'm going to have to do some magic play-by-play.
You know what? But it does beat having a mime on the radio, Brian.
That's true. That's true. It does. I'm trying to think of some of the worst guests you could have on the radio. A mime would probably be on the tops of my list.
Yeah, that would be up there.
That'd be up there, absolutely. So a lot of fun. Joe Walsh tomorrow. And as I mentioned, world's fastest magician who does a show on the Strip, Hans Kloke, will be joining us. Coming up on Wednesday, of course, Michael Avenatti. We'll have Pat Cassell in studio as well. Thursday, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be joining us, as well as nationally syndicated host Bernie Fratto, to talk a little bit of college football and preview the UNLV football season. Bernie is an insider when it comes to UNLV, so we'll talk to him on Thursday. And the people from the show, wow, the Vegas Spectacular. Fantastic show, JD. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but a couple performers from that show will be joining us in studio Friday, and we'll also be giving tickets away to that show. So a very, very busy week for the Vegas Take, as it always is. And Seth Moulton joined us earlier, and that was fantastic. If you missed any of that, JD, I want you to give out the information of all the platforms that we are on where we podcast our show.
We're on so many different platforms right now. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Podbean, Google Play, TuneIn.
That's a lot.
Spotify.
That's a lot.
YouTube. Yeah, I think we're on 12 or 13 right now, and everything is the Vegas Take. You look for anything. It's not Sharp and Shapiro. It is the Vegas Take, and every single show we've done will be listed there, as well as any show we've had videotaped. We've had about 15 of those.
So check it out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about boycotts that are trending everywhere, right? I remember I am not a Laura Ingraham fan by any stretch of the imagination. I've called her a racist on the air. I think she is a horrible person. Now, with that being said, okay, I remember when she went after David Hogg. If you remember, this is the young man who I think showed a lot of courage, by the way, after the Parkland shooting. Anti-gun and wants to do some things to improve the safety to make sure another school shooting doesn't happen. You can disagree with this politics, that's fine. But remember, back in the day, this wasn't that long ago, Laura Ingraham decided to make fun of his grades in high school, which is beyond pathetic. And that's why I say Laura Ingraham is a horrible person. So David Hogg takes to social media, and I loved it when he did this. He brought up all of her sponsors. And because of him doing that, Laura Ingraham, her show lost millions of dollars in sponsorships because of a horrendous comment. Now, make no mistake about it. If you say something with an opinion that is not completely over the top and is not hurting people, then no. I don't think just because you disagree with somebody, you should go after their sponsors. I think that's ridiculous. For example, if somebody goes on the air and says, I love Donald Trump or I hate Donald Trump, and that's just an opinion. You have the right to do that. But that situation with Laura Ingraham was very different. And I believe she deserved the scrutiny and the boycott that she got. And I think we live in a day and an age, yes, you have to be very careful with the things you say. You can have an opinion. But it's like, going back, and I hate to bring this up again, but I think it's important. When you have a conspiracy theorist like a Wayne Allen Root that says that makes a statement that Muslims committed the October 1 shooting, yeah, I think people have a right to go after you for that.
Well, the problem is a really, really impressionable mind who follows everything that you say and that you do could believe that. And if they believe that too much and they act on it, it could create a problem.
It's dangerous. I agree.
It could potentially be dangerous, not to the majority of the population, but to that small percent of the population who literally just lives and dies and by every single thing that you say, and they take it as gospel.
Yes, and I agree with that 100%. And I'll give one more quick example. We've talked about Tucker Carlson a lot, where Tucker Carlson goes on television and he says the idea of white supremacy is a hoax. He says that days after the Walmart shooting. That guy should not be on the air. He should have been fired for that. And if people wanted to boycott the advertisers on his show, I would have been totally okay with that. There's a reason why I bring that up, because this is where a boycott can go the other way. This is where a boycott is, it goes in the other direction. So as I said, boycotts are trending all the time. So there was a hashtag on social media, hashtag boycott Olive Garden. And it was running pretty hot with some 15,000 tweets. And the purpose of it was somebody put up on Twitter that, that this restaurant chain was supporting the Donald Trump campaign in 2020. Now, they were wrong. Olive Garden put out a statement that says, we don't know where this information came from, but it's incorrect. Our company does not donate to presidential candidates. Now, first of all, if your restaurant is supporting Donald Trump, I don't think that's a reason to boycott the restaurant. The bottom line is I go to a restaurant because I like the food. I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care. It's just like music. I bought Michael Jackson albums. A lot of people think he was a pedophile. I still bought his albums because I liked his music. If I like your music or if I like your food, regardless of your political beliefs, I am probably going to frequent your establishment. But this is a situation where whoever tweeted this, they were wrong. It certainly affected Olive Garden's business. 15,000 tweets is a lot of tweets, folks. Make no mistake about it. And it was wrong. This tweet went viral. So while I think, you have the right to boycott a restaurant, you also have the right to put out information that is not false, that is true. And it's not fair, in my opinion, to hurt a company that has done nothing wrong. Regardless of whether you like this restaurant or not, to say that they are supporting Donald Trump, it was factually inaccurate. Olive Garden put out a statement that says, and by the way, I think it's smart for many of these companies to not support a presidential candidate because we are so divided as a country. You have the right to do it, but I think you can certainly, hurt your business by doing so, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican.
I would say it isn't smart.
No,
you're right. With how with how spread out everything is at this point. It doesn't make any sense. It can only hurt you, actually.
Right. So we'll take some calls on this on the GCI Guys hotline. What do you guys think about boycotts? I mentioned Laura Ingraham, the boycott of her sponsors. I mentioned Tucker Carlson, the boycott of his sponsors. I think there are certain situations where it is appropriate, and I think there are certain situations where it's not appropriate. What do you guys think about this? Give us a call. The number 257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. What do you think about boycotting some of these shows, going after people's sponsors, and then what happened to Olive Garden, for example, where it backfired and it was wrong, and the person who put it out was incorrect? Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's go to Brady. Brady, what's going on?
What's up, Brady?
Good morning, BLM, Brian, and JD.
Good morning. What's on your mind, Brady?
Hey, I want to bring up, you were talking about Laura Ingraham.
Yes.
And David Hogg guy. I mean, that guy went after Laura Ingraham and posted, like you guys were saying, all her sponsors.
Yes.
I don't feel that's right. Laura Ingraham just stands up for she's one who stands up for the guns and the Second Amendment. And you got people like David Hogg going after the people that want guns and going after the wrong thing. The biggest problem with that Parkland shooting, again, was understaffed, under security.
Okay, that's a debate,
guns.
Brady, that's a debate I'm willing to have with you, and that's fine.
Especially considering what happened with Scott Peterson.
Yes, but here's where I disagree with you, Brady. This wasn't Laura Ingraham just supporting guns. Okay, Laura Ingraham went after his grades. This is a high school kid at the time. She went after his grades. Now, you cannot tell me with a straight face that that is appropriate for an adult on a TV show because you disagree with his politics to do that on the air. And that is exactly why David Hogg went after his sponsors. Do you think it is appropriate for Laura Ingraham to go after his grades? Because that is completely academic to the discussion.
Oh, geez, I think you guys got to pull your pants up a little if you're getting hurt over somebody calling your
That's
grades.
not what I asked you.
Come on, pull your pants up.
That's not what I asked you. And by the way, if I was next to you, my pants would always be up, just for the record, number one. And number two, I don't know exactly what that means. But number two, so you're saying your position, Brady, let's be very clear on this. Your position is because an adult who does a nationally national TV show disagrees with a high school kid's politics, your position is you're completely okay with a Laura Ingraham going after a student's grades. You're okay with that. You have no problem with that at all.
I don't think it was the most appropriate thing to do. But, again, when you step into the ring of fire like David Hogg did and started going after everybody on the right.
What do you mean? No, he's not going after everybody on the right. That's not true. Where do you get that from? He went after the NRA, and he was calling out politicians for no action. Now, that's his opinion, Brady. You have the right to disagree with that. But to say that he was, doing what Laura Ingraham did is not factually accurate. He wasn't doing that.
You understand that what they're going after, people like David Hogg and all the people on the left, is gun confiscation.
That's not true. There's not one Democrat that wants to take all your guns away. That is a right-wing talking point.
How about Gavin Newsom?
You just said Democrats. You didn't mention one or two people. To say the fact that all Democrats like David Hogg want to take all of your guns away is not factually accurate. And to be quite frank, it's dangerously
in all fairness.
It's not fact. You guys are going after every semi-automatic, which means gun confiscation. You also want a registry. You want everything that's going to do to bring everybody who's a private citizen to get their gun on a national register. That is called gun registry.
Your position.
Next thing after that, then you'll go after all the semi-automatics.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So let me ask you, it's not a slippery slope. Let me ask you a very specific question. Do you think nothing should be done in regards to all these shootings? Nothing?
I told you what needs to be done. I need to have more guns in the school and people.
So your answer, and you think the way we are safer is more guns. That is the only, that's how you think we're safer as a society.
Did you see those people in Florida, the other schools, what they put in the school this week?
Yeah. Did you see the guy who walked into a Walmart and killed 22 people? Did you see the kid who walked into a high school in Connecticut and massacred
here's
kids?
My thing with the Walmart. Instead of having a greeter standing in front of the store, why
have a
doesn't
person
he
with
have
a gun
on him?
Do you want this to be like Israel, where everyone's carrying an AR-15 on their backs? Is that the kind of
or Venezuela?
Do you realize how ridiculous you sound?
Most countries in South America.
You think,
there's a reason why America is the greatest country in the world, and one of them is because there isn't people with guns on every single corner.
Brady, I don't mind
intimidating people.
I don't mind having a discussion with you on this, Brady, and obviously we disagree, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But here's where my problem is. You are not willing to meet anybody on the middle. You have extreme views to the right. Never on this show have I ever...
Why is it an extreme view when I wear my gun and it's legal to wear my gun?
Here's why an extreme. Here's why. I'll answer.
I can conceal my gun or carry my gun.
I'll answer your question.
I'm one of them people that want to have guns on the street. With someone like me, if there's a situation, I'll handle it.
Here's why.
The cops aren't always around. Who's going to protect you?
I'm going to answer your question. You cannot make the argument to me that you need 250 rounds of ammunition and all these weapons of war to defend yourself. That is ridiculous.
Well, when I go hunting, I'm not that good of a shot, so I need I need a big magazine.
Okay, well that's nice, but this is not a funny subject.
I'm going to tell you a stat. There were 390 million guns right now in the United States. There's about 28 million guns being produced a year. In the next 10 years, if guns keep increasing at that compounding rate, there's going to be almost 600 million guns in the United States. And there's not going to be more than 350 million people. Does every single person need 1.5 guns? Honest to God.
This is what I mean with Brady. The idea that, and by the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 257-5396. The idea that he wants everybody at the front of a store with an assault rifle is absurd.
Yeah, what if that person at the front of the store has a bad day?
Yeah, exactly.
What if they're angry? They better have the absolute best mental acuity. They better make sure that they are totally clear mentally if that's going to happen.
But the problem with people like Brady is that, they think more guns are the answer, and they don't want to side with anybody on the left that wants comprehensive gun reform.
Right. What if that guy is a drunk? What if he uses psychotropic drugs? What if he's using substances that alter his thought process, and he has this weapon where he could literally kill 30 or 40 people, and he's the only person there that can do it? There's just so many things that can go wrong, and I think that gun control, substance abuse, parenting, bullying, there's so many different things that are all part of this equation.
And just because
arming everybody is not the answer.
I agree. And just because Brady's responsible doesn't mean that everyone else is. 257-5396 number to call. Let's go to Lee. Lee, what's going on?
What's up, Lee?
Hey, real quickly, I just want to respond to about Laura Ingraham and David Hogg.
Yes.
And the reason it's okay for people to go after Hogg is because the adults are the ones who gave David Hogg the big floor to attack the NRA and the people on the right, the president.
So
he's going to come out as a young man trying to be in the adult world, and the adults are going to cater to this young guy.
So you think it's adult? So
bringing it to the forefront.
Okay, Lee. So your position is you think it's adult-like for a national TV host to go after David Hogg's grades? You think that's acting like an adult?
As much adult-like as it is for the adults to give this kid a floor.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about? You don't think he has the right to share his opinions?
You didn't hear what I said? Did I not make myself clear?
Well, you're not making sense.
You, along with all the other adults, gave this kid to be your leader.
First of all, he's never been on the show. First of all, you're making generalizations. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Sir, what are you talking about? He's not my leader. I formed. Why don't you listen for a second? Okay, I'm trying to, but you're saying things that are not factually accurate. Number one, I make my own decisions on gun control. David Hogg doesn't speak for me. So what the hell are you talking about?
Because you're standing up for him as not being adult, but the adults are the ones who gave him the floor. So what's the problem with
I will kind of agree with this. I think that David Hogg has that. Without Parkland, we don't know who this guy is. Let's be honest. I think he has publicized it to the absolute utmost. But we've given him, and not just us, but the media has given him that platform to do so, and that can't be argued.
The public didn't give him the floor. He's only in every major magazine, a major.
So
show.
what?
No, he's everywhere. But I do have a huge issue.
MSNBC, and you're telling me the adults didn't give him the floor?
Excuse me.
No,
First of all,
it wasn't just the adults. I mean, it was both sides of media that have done that.
Excuse me, Lee.
No, well, that's right. If you're going to say both sides, then let both sides attack him as well.
Lee. First of all, he has been on Fox News. Number one. Number two. Excuse me. Let me finish. Number two. I don't know if you've had to go through what this young man had to go through with many of his friends dying in a massacre. He has a right to now, you can disagree with his politics. That's fine. You could disagree with his thoughts on gun control. I happen to agree with a lot of what he says, not because he's my leader, not because he speaks for me, but because I can form my own opinions as an adult, Lee. And for you to come on the air right now and for you to say that it's okay for Laura Ingraham to go after this kid's grades and personally attack him because you disagree with his politics makes you a buffoon. Make no mistake about it. You're a buffoon. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Steve. Steve, what's going on?
What's up, Steve?
Yeah, you know what? Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
You know what I've noticed? Liberals versus conservatives. Conservatives understand where their freedom comes from. Liberals, they really don't. They don't have a clue. The other day when I called in, we were discussing remember I brought up prohibition. You know, a lot of people don't understand that. But as far as the Second Amendment is concerned, the reason they put that in there is because they wanted to have us equal power with any country that tried to take over America. Great Britain had cannons. We had muskets. Okay? That's why we have a Second Amendment that says it shall not be infringed. Let me finish my point.
Please, quickly.
They wanted the people to have more power than the government. That's what the founders wanted. Now, if you want to get rid of these gun violence situations, the only way to cure that, and I have the solution, I'm not going to claim to be a know-it-all, but as an automatic death penalty with all your constitutional rights. That's the only way to ever solve this.
So you think that, okay, with all due respect, Steve.
A lot of these shooters killed themselves.
With all due respect, Steve, but that is a ridiculous thing to say. You think somebody walking into a movie theater or a Walmart that wants to kill hundreds of innocent people cares about his constitutional rights in that frame of mind? That is an utterly ridiculous statement, and I'm not even going to address it because it's so dumb. 257-5396. You think somebody...
Good call, Steve.
You think somebody walking into a theater... or somebody walking in, that wants to kill innocent people. Oh, no, I better not kill all these people in Walmart because they might take my constitutional rights away.
Also, someone who someone who walks into a public place like that also isn't thinking clearly.
Of course not.
They're
That's
also
my point.
Completely mentally insane. And the question is, how did they get to that level of insanity?
That's my point.
And that's what we need to figure out.
This guy thinks...
Where did that disconnect come where reality doesn't make a difference? My own life doesn't make a difference, and it doesn't make a difference so much. I feel so bad about myself that I want to kill 20 or 30 people tonight.
I got it. Yeah, I agree.
That's what we have to figure out.
Take one more quick call. I've only got about 45 seconds for Bo. Bo, thank you for waiting on hold. Sorry to rush you, Bo. Now let's get you a break. Go ahead, Bo.
What's up, Bo?
All right, man. Well, check it out. A firearm is known as the great equalizer. Now, back before there were firearms, the big guys would beat up on the little guys all the time. And when we came out with firearms, the little guys had the opportunity to protect themselves from the big guys because they could now equal the playing field.
So what are you trying to say? Everybody should have an AR-15 or an AK-47?
Well, truly and honestly, yes. Everyone
Okay,
should
well,
be
that's
trained
fine.
in it.
All right.
All right, Bo.
And if you go back to in the 60s and the 50s when my daddy was growing up, everybody had rifles in their vehicles.
All right,
And
Bo,
there
I
wasn't
I appreciate your opinion, bro. Unfortunately, we're up against a hard break. I would have loved to have continued to debate you on that issue, but we got to take a break, my friend. Sorry to cut you off. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.